Tom Hanks has spent decades being one of Hollywood's most recognizable stars, but now his political comments are putting him in a very different spotlight. After a reported Paramount project involving Hanks was scrapped, the actor is speaking out about politics, Hollywood, and the direction of the film industry, and some of his comments are already drawing major criticism. But here's the bigger question. Did Hollywood really turn against Hanks because of his politics, or is something much larger happening inside the industry? And why are audiences becoming increasingly frustrated with celebrities who seem more interested in political activism than entertainment? Before we break it all down, make sure to subscribe to the WokeWatch for more Hollywood and entertainment news. Hollywood has become increasingly political over the last several years, with actors, directors, writers, comedians, and other entertainment figures becoming regular participants in political campaigns, rallies, and protests. But there is a growing argument that this strategy may be costing some of these celebrities part of their audience. Names like Robert De Niro, George Clooney, Jane Fonda, Julia Roberts, and now Tom Hanks have all become increasingly vocal about political issues. And while celebrities obviously have every right to express their opinions, the question is whether constantly bringing politics into their public image is beginning to affect how audiences see them. That conversation has become even more interesting following the reported cancellation of a Paramount project involving Hanks. The project was described as a political thriller in which Hanks was expected to portray a corrupt vice president. And according to the narrative surrounding the cancellation, the project disappeared at a time when Hanks had become increasingly outspoken about politics. That has naturally led to speculation about whether Hollywood studios are becoming more cautious about political projects, and whether celebrity activism is influencing those decisions. Hanks has now addressed the broader issue, and his comments are getting plenty of attention. He argued that something needs to change in America, particularly when it comes to what he believes is happening to the entertainment business. According to Hanks, the current political environment has created a situation where major studios are becoming increasingly cautious about producing political films and television projects. His argument is essentially that Hollywood should not be afraid to create fictional political stories simply because those stories might be interpreted as criticism of the current administration. Hanks also expressed nostalgia for the way the industry operated during the Biden administration, arguing that studios appeared less hesitant to explore political themes during that period. But his comments went much further than simply criticizing studio decision-making. Hanks accused the current administration and its supporters of contributing to division in the country, and he argued that political disagreements were having consequences for people working throughout Hollywood. He also encouraged Americans to vote Democrat, presenting the upcoming election as something that could have a direct impact on the future of the entertainment industry. And that's where the reaction becomes much more complicated. There's a major difference between an actor expressing a political opinion once in a while and an actor becoming heavily associated with political activism. That's the criticism being directed at Hanks and several other major Hollywood stars. Many moviegoers don't necessarily go to a theater because they want political commentary from the actors. They go because they want to be entertained. And when an actor's political identity becomes a major part of their public image, some viewers may eventually find it difficult to separate the performer from the character they're watching. That's a criticism we've seen surrounding several Hollywood stars over the years. Robert De Niro is probably one of the clearest examples. His political statements have become so prominent that conversations about his movies frequently end up turning into conversations about his political beliefs. And now some people believe Tom Hanks is moving in a similar direction. The issue isn't necessarily that these celebrities have political opinions. Of course they do. The bigger issue is whether audiences actually want Hollywood stars telling them how they should vote. That's where a significant portion of the backlash comes from. There are millions of Americans working completely different jobs every day. Doctors, nurses, construction workers, electricians, teachers, small business owners, engineers, and countless others. So when a celebrity suggests that voting a certain way is necessary to save an entire industry, critics can understandably interpret that as Hollywood placing itself above ordinary Americans. And that's exactly the perception Hanks's comments have created among some viewers. There's another interesting consequence to all of this. When audiences watch an older movie starring someone like Tom Hanks, Robert De Niro, or George Clooney, they're watching performances that were created long before these celebrities became as politically outspoken as they are today. But if the actor's current public persona becomes overwhelming enough, some viewers say it becomes harder to completely separate that persona from their older work. That's why political activism can become a branding problem for celebrities. The movies haven't changed, the performances haven't changed, but the audience's perception of the person behind those performances can change dramatically. And once that happens, even beloved classics can become connected to a completely different conversation. This is one reason why the growing political divide inside Hollywood matters beyond just a few celebrities. The entertainment industry depends heavily on audiences from every political background. Republicans watch movies. Democrats watch movies. Independents watch movies. People who don't care about politics watch movies. So when Hollywood becomes increasingly associated with one political viewpoint, studios risk alienating portions of the very audience they're trying to entertain. And that brings us back to the Paramount situation. If the reported cancellation of Hanks's political thriller really was connected to the industry's changing attitude toward political content, then this could represent something much bigger than one actor losing one project. It could signal that studios are beginning to realize that political entertainment has become a much more complicated business. Audiences are already divided. Hollywood stars are increasingly political, and studios are trying to figure out how much controversy they're willing to attach to expensive productions. At the same time, Hanks clearly believes the opposite approach is necessary. He believes Hollywood should be willing to take political risks and continue producing stories involving fictional politicians and controversial subjects. But whether audiences actually want more of that remains a completely different question. The most interesting part of this entire situation may be what happens to Hanks's career from here. He's still one of the biggest names in Hollywood, and there's no question that his decades-long career speaks for itself. But Hollywood has changed dramatically. Streaming has transformed the business. Movie audiences have become more selective, and celebrities now have a direct relationship with the public through social media and political appearances. That means every statement can potentially become part of an actor's brand. For Hanks, the question is whether audiences will continue seeing him primarily as the beloved actor they've known for decades, or whether his increasingly political public image will become just as important as his film career. And if more studios begin avoiding politically controversial projects, Hanks may not be the only major celebrity affected. That could eventually impact actors, writers, directors, and producers across the entire industry. There is also the question of whether Hollywood is entering a period where studios prioritize safety over creativity. In the past, controversial political films often created strong reactions, but they also generated conversation, publicity, and sometimes major awards attention. Today, however, studios may worry that one politically charged project could alienate half of its potential audience before the movie even reaches theaters. That pressure could encourage filmmakers to avoid direct political references and focus on stories that feel less divisive. But critics argue that this approach could make Hollywood less daring and less willing to explore difficult subjects. If every controversial idea is rejected because it might upset viewers, the industry could end up producing safer but less memorable entertainment. At the same time, audiences are becoming more aware of the personal beliefs of the celebrities they watch. Social media, interviews, campaign appearances, and public statements have made it much harder for actors to maintain a separate image from their political identities. For some viewers, that transparency is a positive thing. For others, it makes it difficult to enjoy a movie without thinking about the actor's off-screen opinions. This creates a difficult situation for Hanks. His reputation was built on characters that often represented kindness, decency, courage, and ordinary American values. But if his political statements become the main focus of public discussion, those qualities may no longer be the first thing audiences associate with him. Instead, every new project could be judged through the lens of his political image. For now, though, the debate continues. Is Tom Hanks right that Hollywood is becoming too afraid to make political films? Or are studios simply responding to an audience that is tired of having politics constantly pushed into entertainment? And more importantly, should Hollywood celebrities be using their platforms to tell audiences how they should vote? That's the real question. Let me know what you think about Tom Hanks's comments and the reported Paramount cancellation down in the comments. And if you enjoyed the video, make sure to like, subscribe to the WokeWatch, and turn on notifications for more Hollywood and entertainment coverage. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.